In the bustling streets of Boston in 1773, a young printer's apprentice named Samuel Adams watched as tensions between the American colonists and the British Crown simmered like a pot about to boil over. The British had imposed taxes on tea, paper, and stamps, and the colonists, who had no voice in Parliament, felt their freedom slipping away. One chilly December night, whispers of protest filled the air. Samuel joined a group of men, determined to send a message to the Crown. They dressed as Mohawk Indians and boarded British ships anchored in the harbor. With careful hands, they dumped crates of tea into the icy waters. This bold act became known as the Boston Tea Party, and it lit a spark of rebellion across the 13 colonies. The following year, in 1774, the colonies convened the First Continental Congress. Samuel watched as leaders debated, argued, and finally agreed, they could no longer accept unfair rule. They sent a petition to King George III, demanding their rights be respected. But the king dismissed their pleas. By April 1775, the conflict turned violent. At Lexington and Concord, the first shots were fired, and the Revolutionary War had begun. Samuel, now a soldier, ran through the smoky fields, muskets firing all around him. Fear and courage mixed in his chest as he realized the enormity of what they were fighting for: freedom, equality, and a new nation. Months turned into years. Battles raged at Bunker Hill, Saratoga, and across the countryside. Samuel witnessed both triumphs and tragedies. Friends lost, villages burned, yet hope never faded. The colonies found allies in France, who provided soldiers, ships, and supplies. With their help, the tide slowly turned against the British. Finally, in 1781, after years of struggle, the Battle of Yorktown ended in victory for the American forces. Samuel stood on the battlefield, exhausted but filled with pride. The British army had surrendered, and the dream of independence had been realized. 2 years later, in 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially recognized the United States as a free and independent nation. Samuel returned home to Boston, a city forever changed, as did the lives of all who had fought. He looked at the newly raised American flag fluttering in the wind and smiled. Freedom had come at a great cost, but it was theirs to cherish, protect, and pass on to future generations.